What a great crowd we have here today, and I think I know why. They're sitting over to my right, but I'm President Sal Pizarro, and I would like to welcome you all to the 5,356th meeting of the Rotary Club of San Jose. I'd like to thank the Red Badge Committee, led by Mauricio Cordova and Kathleen Thomas, for greeting us in the hall. And if you didn't have an opportunity, of course, you should be signing up for our firesides. Doug Smith was out there taking signups. We've got 2 going great. Unfortunately, it looks like we're going to have to hold off on the Gordon House one. The deck is not quite finished, so I don't think we'll be able to do that one. If we do get a groundswell of support for it, we will make it happen, though. And of course, we've got signups to volunteer for the large club conference. We'll be hearing more about that later. We are going to be dispensing with our regular introductions. We have a huge crowd here, but there are a couple of special people I'd like to mention. We have visiting with us Patty Nation, formerly of Xilinx here in San Jose, who is president of the Hurricane Valley Club in Utah. She's visiting us with us here today. So Patty, welcome.
Thank you so much. It's an honor to be here, and we bring well wishes from Hurricane on the way to Zion, and we look forward to connecting with you more and more often. This is my home. I was born and raised in San Jose, so it's an honor to be here again. Thank you.
Thank you. And I'd like to get a microphone to Norm Holberg, who has a couple of special guests.
I do indeed have 2 special guests. I have Yulia Ferguson. Yulia works for me. She's been here for 7 years. She's from Ukraine, and her son is newly in the Navy in boot camp in Chicago right now. But I also have another very special guest, Anastasia Omarova. And Anastasia is the niece of Yulia. She is from Ukraine. She's been here for 2 months. She's a refugee here. And next month, we're going to hear from her a little bit during Sal's president's time.
And Maggie, if we could get a microphone over to Dave Silva.
Yes, here we go.
Nope, nope. You guys are just standing? Okay. I thought you were introducing. Okay. Well, in that case, I would like to invite, oh, wait, Tom?
Oh,
somebody?
He wants you to take the mic. Oh, he doesn't.
No?
I
Okay.
guess not.
They're shy, but don't worry, we're going to move on. At this point, I would like to invite everyone, well, wait, now I've got to introduce the band now. As you approach the meeting, of course, we are hearing the wonderful music from the Navy Band Southwest Woodwind Quintet. So let's please give them a round of applause. We have with us Chief Musician Chris Bourgeois from the great city of New Orleans, musician First Class Whitney Adams from Tulsa, Oklahoma, musician Second Class Justin Lockett from Salt Lake City, musician Second Class Terry Perrin from San Antonio, Texas, and musician Third Class Alexander Charles from Fredericksburg, Virginia. Let's please give them a hand. And now I'd like to invite all of you to please rise as they will be performing our national anthem. Thank you. All right, and I would like to now invite San Jose Vice Mayor Chappie Jones to the podium, and I think he's bringing along with him council members Matt Mahan, Pam Foley, and David Cohen.
Thank you, Sal, and good afternoon, everyone. Happy Navy Week. We're very honored to be here today to present a proclamation to Admiral Swap for Navy Week. And I just want to tell you a quick little story. A few years ago, there was a commercial that came out. It was for the Navy recruitment. It was called The Shield. And it was they had two people, a mother and a father, and then they had a little girl. And the camera panned into the little girl and the mother and father, and then it started to pan out. And as the camera was panning out, members of the Navy started to surround them. First, it was one person, then it was 5 people, then it was 20 people. Then it was 100 people. Then it was 1,000 people. So as the camera panned out to a complete overview of that family, there were literally thousands of Navy personnel that were surrounding the family. And the caption of that commercial was, "To get to you, they have to get through us." That's always stuck with me. And if, I was too old to join the Navy, but if I had been young enough, I definitely would have signed up. But that was a very moving commercial, and I think that commercial really epitomized what our armed forces, and particularly the Navy, mean to us in terms of keeping us safe. So Admiral Swap, I want to thank you and all the members of the Navy and all the members of our armed services for keeping my family safe, for keeping my community safe, and for keeping our country safe. So I want to present this proclamation to you for Navy Week. I just made a major faux pas. I forgot. I didn't introduce my colleagues. So we also have Council Member Matt Mahan from District 10, Council Member David Cohen from District 4, and Council Member Pam Foley from District 9.
And of course, we are thrilled to have all of you as members of our club. And speaking of new members of our club, it's now time for a new member introduction. I would like to invite Carl Guardino to the stage with his sponsor, Rod Diridon. I know none of you here know Carl, so this will be very enlightening for you all.
Lori won't let me go out of the house without this damn thing. I met this young rascal about 40 years ago. He was running as a practically brand new graduate from San Jose State who was Go Spartans. He was on the staff of Rusty Arias. He was running for the Board of Supervisors. Well, he was running against our old friend Mike Honda. And of course, Carl, on that first run out, lost that race. That was the only race he's lost in all these years. He took that experience, he used it for community service. He has been a profound impact on our valley, working up through Hewlett-Packard, and then 2 decades with CEO of the leadership group, chairing 5 different transit campaigns, transit finance campaigns, the tough campaigns to pass, and he passed all of them. He has now he's with Bloom Industries, again, working on environmental causes. His family, Leslie, and their 3 kids live up in Montecito, and they open their home continuously to community fundraising activities and programs. This is without question one of the most profound people that's ever come out of our valley. He was identified and chosen as one of the 10 most powerful people in the valley for 2 decades, and the most powerful for several of those. And we are honored to have him here today as our newest Rotarian, Carl Guardino.
Thank you so much. Rod, as a friend and mentor for 4 decades, I'm honored that you sponsored me to return to Rotary. My Rotary journey started in Gilroy in my 20s when I had the pleasure of living there, then North Salinas, then here in San Jose. And when I could not meet the attendance requirements, you kindly had the good judgment to encourage me to find another club. But you've lowered your standards and welcomed me back. And I deeply appreciate that. And Sal Pizarro, as a friend and community role model and leader for so many years, what an honor to rejoin Rotary during your tenure as president. I simply want to say thank you for allowing me to return to Rotary. I can't think of any more effective civic organization on the planet for what has been collectively done with polio, with so many international, national, state, and local issues. And I look forward to doing my best to try to give back once again. Thank you again for having me.
I think we're going to take a picture right here.
I should have mentioned, I keep my mask on primarily because I haven't had to shave or brush my teeth in 28 months.
I love Carl. Yes, as Rod said, he's one of the most influential people in this valley, and he will be, of course, serving dinner alongside all the rest of our Red Badgers at the barbecue. So we're looking forward to that. But 3 people he won't be serving next to are the ones I'm going to bring up right now, which is 3 Red Badgers who are becoming Blue Badgers. So if I could have Leslie Corsilia, Octavia Derby, and Joanna Rao please come up so I can exchange those Red Badges for Blue Badges. Whichever way is easiest. Congratulations. And we're going to take a little picture here. Yep. Thank you. And I hope you had a successful Red Badge year and learned a lot and are just going to be raring to go because we just love having more members joining committees. Emphasis, let's join committees. Next, we're going to talk about our large club conference. We have, is it Cindy Faulkner? No, playing the part of Cindy Faulkner today is Carl Salas. So Carl, come on up here. These late changes to the agenda tend to throw us off on the AV.
Cindy couldn't make it, so I'm sitting in for her. She and I co-chair the large club conference. I think a lot of you have heard about it, but basically, once a year, the president-elect and the executive director of the largest clubs in the US get together. And if you do the math, that means that about once a century, one of the large clubs has to host it, and we are hosting the large club conference this year, September, what is that, 18th and 19th? You've got the slide up, I think. Do I control this?
Oh, you could, no, leave that alone, leave that alone.
Thank you, Seth. Thank you. Anyway, so it's a huge effort. We've got a committee of about 25 that have been doing tons of details. You can picture, we're bringing all these president-elects from all over the country of the large clubs, not the small ones. These are all clubs of 270 members or more. And the reason I'm telling you all this, first of all, you aren't invited. So.
But you can volunteer.
But no, I'm kind of teasing because you are. We actually need your help and patience because this is going to happen on a Monday and Tuesday. And we're going to make that week is going to be a little crazy because we're going to switch our Wednesday meeting to Monday, and you are all invited to the Wednesday meeting. It's going to be fantastic. Oh, excuse me, you're all invited to the Monday meeting. We won't be having the Wednesday meeting. That's Monday the 19th. We'd like you to get on your calendars. We have Janine Pelosi, who is the executive marketing officer from Zoom coming in. And it's going to be a terrific, one of the better programs, the best programs of the year, although all the programs have been great lately. So Janine is coming in to speak. We have a wonderful setup, and you'll meet 60 presidents from all over the country. It's a real opportunity. So please sign up, put it on your calendar, and come to the Monday meeting.
Carl, where's that Monday meeting to be held?
Thank you. The Monday meeting is going to be at the Signia, which was the Fairmont, as you all know. So we're going to be so large. And there's another number of logistics issues. We've essentially guaranteed 120 or 30 rooms at the Signia, so we're having the entire conference at the Signia. And it's looking great if you haven't been there. So that's number one. So you can really help us and be a little patient with us because the Wednesday meeting is going to be on Monday. But wait, the barbecue, the fall barbecue is going to be on Tuesday instead of Wednesday, and it's going to be that next day on that Tuesday, and you're invited to that too. So once again, you're going to be looking at a kind of crazy week, a huge opportunity for this club to really show our stuff and show what San Jose and the Rotary Club of San Jose is all about. And you are invited on Monday to our regular meeting and on Tuesday to our wonderful barbecue. Thank you so much.
Okay, so remember, Monday, meeting at the Signia. Tuesday, barbecue at History Park. Wednesday, no meeting. Don't come here. We won't be here. I might be here, but you guys shouldn't be here. Okay. As I mentioned, we've got firesides that you can sign up in the lobby. Sean O'Kane's Irish Pub Night. That's gonna be pretty fun, right, Sean? Okay. Live music, whiskey tasting, Guinness on tap. It's called Sunday Night at Sean's. It's every week. This week he's inviting us. And of course, the Robins are hosting us at their farm. I was hearing about this. This is going to be an amazing time. I just signed up. I don't think Amy knows that, but I just signed us up to go and bring a snack. We're going to bring a snack. So please sign up for the firesides if you can. And I would also at this time like to give a special thanks to Josh Maley, who's there in the back. He's Jen Simmons' son, and he's been helping out in the office and helping every Wednesday here with the AV, but we're losing him to that horrible thing called college. So, but we thank him and congratulate him and wish him all the best this year. And speaking of college, while we're on the subject, of course, San Jose State is starting up this year, so thank you, Interim President Perez. Go Spartans. You'll see a lot of increased activity. It's been a great time to be in downtown San Jose. At the Jazz Festival last weekend, I saw a ton of Rotarians. I think I ran into Dave Peterson like 4 or 5 times. Big jazz fan there, and a lot of others of you here were at the various events. And of course, the Cinequest Film Festival started off with a bang last night. It's going through the 24th in downtown San Jose, and then moving to the Pruneyard Cinemas in Campbell, where Dan Orloff gets to deal with it, I think. So that'll be fun. So, and I saw some Rotarians, including past President Brian Adams, there last night. So please just enjoy all of that downtown San Jose has to offer in these next few weeks. It is a fabulous summer. Okay, moving on. Let's bring up Catherine Tonkinson, who can introduce our speaker.
On behalf of the Military Care Committee of your club, we are just so honored and excited to help with this week's program in celebration of San Jose Navy Week. It's the first ever Navy Week in the city. And I have Admiral Swap here next to me, and rather than recite her bio, which is quite extensive and impressive, and it's in the bulletin, I thought I'd lob a few softballs at her for some fun facts. So first of all, Admiral, you're a Sharks fan, right?
Is this on? Is this on?
I don't know.
Is this on now? Can you hear me? I will do this. I'll stand over here. Am I a Sharks fan? No. I am a huge hockey fan. I am a Timo Meyer fan, however. I watched him score five goals in a game last year, and I was like, what's not to love?
Okay.
So yes, but I'm a Vegas Knights fan.
Thank you. All right,
The mayor this morning is like, I don't think I'd mentioned that.
I'm sorry, I had to.
But what is your thing here?
Is it the truth?
I'm all about the truth, folks.
Tell us a little bit about your start in life.
It's an interesting journey. So I'm a James Madison University graduate. And I was one of those kids that, I was an art history major, became a minor. I was gonna draw. I was gonna be a medical illustrator when I was in college. And back in the day, this was 30 plus years ago, this is when people told you weren't good enough for something. Not every kid got a trophy, right? And so I got you're good, you're just not good enough. So I said, oh, okay, maybe I decided to go into health science. So I got a minor in art history and a major in health science. When I was getting ready to graduate, they weren't going to let me graduate, but they're like, that's not degrees that go together. I said, well, this is what I've been doing for the last 4 years. My senior year, I took a business degree, or business class, and I was like, wow. And JMU is a business school, by the way. It has a lot of business basis. This is really great. Why didn't I do this for 4 years? I wasn't about to start all over again. My parents were like, you're out, kid. You got to go do something. So I did an internship between my junior and senior year in something that I knew I never wanted to do again. And then I went on to get a graduate degree at San Diego State in public health.
I think we have some alumni in the room.
Yes.
Well,
yes.
I won't keep you from your presentation, just a point of privilege. Again, thank you so much for your service. I come from a family of Marines, and without the Navy, they wouldn't have gotten around to be able to do their duty. So thank you.
Excellent.
Admiral Swap.
Thank you. So I have to start with the Rotary. About 2014, I was in Okinawa as the CO, and I went to the Rotary clubs there in Okinawa, and I had a pin. I had a Rotary pin, and I was like, I gotta find my Rotary pin before I show up to this meeting today. After 22 moves in my lifetime and 3 since Okinawa, I was like, I don't know where my Rotary pin is. I was gonna flip it to you guys and show you. But the funny part is I had to have a translator while I was in Okinawa. I'm hoping I don't need a translator today. How's that? Navy. We're gonna do our best. I got some phone of friends here. So the staff I have with me is my aide, Lieutenant Ponce Vega. So this young man, you guys will love this. He's been in the Navy for 20 plus years, 21. He's getting ready to retire next month. Yes, he is Puerto Rican. He has since he enlisted in the Navy, and he has gotten his undergrad, graduate, and PhD since he's been in the Navy. I am really, really proud of him, and he's moving to Ohio with his wife next month. I'm going to miss him terribly, so I'm really proud of him. I've known him since he was a second-class sailor in Pensacola, and when I had the opportunity to grab him and have him work with me, I think he was probably like, no. He came off of a ship in San Diego and got pulled into Washington, D.C., and there he is. So I'm excited for his service. And sitting next to him, he's not on my staff, is the XO of it's recruiting. You want to say who you are? So they've changed the names. Yes, ma'am. So XO is, when we talked about it, he said this is one of the richest places to do talent management for the Navy. So thank you all for that. Also in the room, Jake, you want to tell them what you do?
Hey everybody, my name is Jake Joy. I work for the Navy Office of Community Outreach, and basically the whole job is to thank amazing folks like the Admiral and our sailors and our bands up with folks who want to know what we're doing with your tax dollars. So thanks for the money and thanks for
Yeah, thanks, Jake. No pressure there, right? So for, again, background, being a Navy flag officer, an admiral, the idea is that I'm medical. So I want to put that out there to all of you. I'm going to speak generically about the Navy. I'm going to give you the 101 as best I can. So be kind in your questions. But if I can't answer it, I certainly have a phone a friend in the audience who can, perhaps, and if not, we'll take your name and phone number, and I certainly will get back to you as quickly as possible. Is that fair? So before I go on, I want to know, who are my veterans in the audience? Stand up. Excellent. Thank you. Thank you for your service. One of the things I will say is one of the ideas I would say that the Navy or the services in general, we like to make better citizens, and opportunities is what we're about. I would think Jake and the commander would agree. It's one of the things we like to say. I've done a lot of that in my years, 31 and a half years, still standing, and I look forward to this. First thing we're gonna do is show you a video and on Navy medicine, and we'll go from there. So please.
Navy medicine provides extremely well-trained experts capable of operating on austere conditions on expeditionary platforms, operating as high-performance, cohesive teams in order to project medical power in support of naval superiority.
A specialized team of Navy medical personnel shipping out after a month at the University of Utah Hospital.
This specialized team of naval doctors, nurses, and administrators stepping in to help out the beleaguered staff.
We're here to help, and we're ready to get started.
Eager and motivated. That's how a U.S. Navy group is feeling in the call for help.
This is the first time that I've been a part of a response team like this, and I must say it's a humbling and an honor to be part of this team.
Lieutenant Commander Charlene Reese's latest mission, part of a team working tirelessly to vaccinate more than 3,000 patients a day.
History in the making. I am able to experience it firsthand on the front lines and in this uniform.
We were brought here to care for the Afghan personnel. They have 14 required vaccines that we've been administering to them, as well as a few labs from an infectious disease standpoint that we do. And then we follow up on those lab results as we need to.
To most people, it's simply a shot, but to the military, it's like biological body armor.
We've seen that the vaccine is very safe. This is no different than putting on a helmet and a flak jacket in a combat zone. We have to look to the future and remain laser focused on modernizing our forces to deploy on new emerging platforms for a very different fight.
Today, our camera's got an inside look, Kevin, at a one-of-its-kind military facility in Groton, the Naval Submarine Medical Research Lab.
In Groton, we realized the difficult operational environments that both of these communities work in, submariners and divers, and we try to optimize both their medical readiness and operational readiness.
From sleep studies to hearing studies, light technology to facial tracking technology. The team says this wide range of research is important.
Our One Navy Medicine team is actively rendering assistance to our warfighters. We're keeping them in the fight and ensuring they are operationally ready for that next mission.
All right, so as you could see, Navy medicine's been across the globe. One of the stories I will tell you, during COVID, I got a call from the Surgeon General, who is Bruce Gillingham, Admiral Gillingham, you saw there. I was down in Norfolk at the time, and I got a call saying, hey, I need you to get 7 people down to South America in 4 hours. I said, okay, sure, why not? You know, and there was a USS Kidd, you probably saw it on the news. There was an outbreak on the ship, and they needed to get an Abbott machine. This was all, you know, obviously we were developing over time how we were going to respond to COVID. And you need to get the machine down there, you need to get these 7 people down there, and you need to do it in 4 hours. Okay, so what makes us unique in the military? We did it. We got the preventive medicine doc and the corpsman and the nurse down there, got them to the flight line, they went home, packed their bags, they went out, they got on the plane, they got the machine that they needed, and they went on the plane and they got down to South America and they took care of the crew that needed the help at the time in 4 hours. Who does that? We do. That's what we do. So when you think about the things that we do in the military, that's what makes us unique and special. So first slide, if I may. The need for a strong Navy. One of the things years ago that we always remembered, it's not that old, is 70, 80, 90. 70% of the world is covered in water. 80% of our commerce moves by ships, and 90% of the world lives on the coast. So why do you need a Navy? I think that says it all. Next slide. Okay. 26% of us, the jobs are tied to global. I mean, this is pretty much speaks to itself on this slide. I don't think, I think this organization here, this valley, could probably understand this pretty well. We're all tied to this particular slide. In this world and why we need the Navy. Next slide. All right, operations update. Where is the Navy? Well, we have 6 major commands, and we are in far as Europe, Middle East, Central America. It's pretty much Africa, Pentagon. We go all over the place. There's six large commands that the Navy supports. And so we're everywhere from coast to coast. It's pretty basic. Next slide. Decisive naval power. The security and prosperity of our nation depends on the integration of the U.S. Navy, Marine Corps, Coast Guard, and it's maintaining the advantage at sea. I don't think any of you don't understand that. I think it's pretty obvious. Next slide. Global competition and influence. Some countries are expanding their use of maritime forces and assert their own influence to weaken international rules. Integrated naval power counters these competitions. So, I think some of these things you've seen in the news. I could ask you if you remember any of these things. I don't want to test your memory skills, but one of this was Russia, one of this was China. The Navy was there. Next slide. Strengthen integrated deterrence. It's a cornerstone of 2022 National Defense Strategy. The Naval Service's ability to control the seas and project power from both land and sea. And it's an underpinning of America's national defense strategy and its economic vitality. Next slide. I think this slide speaks for itself. It has all nations benefit from free and open seas. Seems pretty basic. I think when you look at what the Navy does, I don't think we have to really argue our benefits and what we do for access to the maritime domain. So we'll foster a united global effort and safeguard this access. Next slide. Deterring aggression and supporting our allies. The maritime domain is particularly vulnerable right now from bad behavior. I think everybody in the news of threshold of war and incremental gains from bad activities that accumulate into long-term advantages exploiting this, new avenues and advances in their interest, including weaponizing social media, infiltrating global supply chains, and using space and cyber as warfighting domains. So we must compete in these spaces. And the way to do that is obviously, next slide, building enduring warfighting advantages. We will develop and modernize naval force within sufficient sizes and capability to compete effectively and deter aggression, and if required, decisively win in conflict. Next slide. So this is where we come in, and this is where I think all of you can help. Recruiting and retaining skilled sailors. This is something the commander does. Trying to find, I think 1%, is it 1%, Commander? 1% of the nation can serve. So thank you to the veterans here that have served. Finding the right people, building the skill sets for people to serve, creating an ecosystem that allows them to serve. Having people understand, I think it's a fear not understanding what the military is about. I think my favorite line, especially in medicine, they're like, you meet other healthcare professionals. They're like, people just do what you tell them to do because you're in uniform. I'm like, have you worked with doctors before? It doesn't work that way. People tend to do what you ask them to do if they trust you, right? So building trust, understanding that, leading, coaching, mentoring, all of that works in the military the same way it works in the civilian world, and that's teaching young folks and grooming them and teaching them through life.
Don't mean to interrupt. We've got people watching online and having problems hearing. Can you switch to the podium mic and so on?
Oh, sure, absolutely. Are you ready? Can you all hear me on this? Is it on now? Can you hear me now? Can you hear me now? I feel like a commercial. Okay. We're good now. I think we're good. Now I can't move around. I feel trapped. All right. So back to the whole, this is probably the money slide. Retaining and skilled sailors. Recruiting is probably where it starts. And certainly when people leave, to all of you, I had this conversation with the president of the Chamber of Commerce. I said, we want to put people back in where they come from as a citizen, right? As a good citizen. So building better citizens, I think all of this is the ecosystem we all look for. And I hope that's what we do. So with that, next slide. Surface warfare. Commander, isn't that what you did for a living? Drive ships? So if I get this wrong, you're going to jump in, defend my honor. Absolutely. So America's Navy is ready to defend America's, our allies and our partners, and our strategic interests at all times. We're uniquely positioned to do so because the world's oceans provide us with the access to protect America's interests anywhere around the clock using naval power from the sea. And the commander is obviously commanded at sea. So, you remember we all looked at all the bling that we're wearing? His bling demonstrates. It's our story. This is what this is all about, our story. His story tells you that he is actually commanded at sea, correct? Which is a hard thing to do. And so thank you for that. Next slide. Undersea warfare. There's always competitions amongst, there's tribes within our own Navy, right? Would you agree with me on that? Yeah. So the guys that drive the submarines, we started off with diesel and now we're at nuclear power. And so technology has driven us that. And this, I'd say we are certainly ruling the undersea world for warfare. It's been a specialty in America's Navy. It's a tradition that continues today. Our submarine force has evolved, like I just mentioned, from diesel to nuclear. And it's they have, on these submarines, they have torpedoes, tomahawks, and ballistic missiles. And y'all are thinking, why do I need to know that? Well, because you're protected, I guess. It's important to know. Next slide, air warfare. It's been long. Who's seen Top Gun? I gotta ask. Right? I have to ask that question. Because I think the videos, you have to suspend a little bit of reality when you watch it, but the video is pretty close. And most of my aviator friends are like, oh, wasn't that great? I'm like, you really like that? Okay. Of course, it's aviation, so of course they did. It's long been held that the first question during any crisis is, where's the nearest carrier? Such a question confirms the importance of navigation to America's Navy. The Super Hornet is just one example of this. Planes, helicopters, and yes, the unmanned aircraft that are the backbone of our projected air power, all of which allow a great number of things at sea, which need another country. So we basically can operate around the world without having to go into their airspace or into their country, which is why we do what we do. The carrier allows that to happen, and aviators allow us to do that. Why Navy? That's why Navy exists. Naval aviation. Next slide, special warfare. All right, who knows what a SEAL is? When I was a kid, I used to think it was, from Monterey, I used to think it was a loud thing that you heard barking in the morning, but clearly it's not. Well, it depends on if you talk to a few of them, but they're all very, very bright and have a very specific mission. When I was in Afghanistan, I flew a lot of missions with them, and they were usually the guys that didn't look anything like you expected them to look like, doing whatever they were doing. But I'm very grateful to the work that they continue to do. So they provide qualified officers the opportunity to be a member of one of the world's elite fighting forces. And it's interesting to me, one story when I was in Orlando, I did an engagement with some Sea Cadets, and this young child, because he was a child, he was about 12, his name was Ares, and he's like, "Ma'am, do you know what that means?" And I'm like, he said, "God of War." I said, "Okay." So he's like, I said, "What do you want to do?" He goes, "I want to be a SEAL." I said, "Oh, great." He goes, "But I don't like to run." I said, "Well," I was like, "Let me know how that works out for you, kid." So clearly, everybody knows what a SEAL is and what they're capable of and how they're feared around the world. Next slide. We had an explosive ordnance disposal. We had a nice presentation last night at the Italian Heritage. The Heritage. Yes, thank you. I can see the building. I can see this Ken and Dana. I just can see everything. But the EOD, it was EOD 1, and they went through the entire presentation of what they do. Clearly, these guys have nerves of steel. It's the Department of Defense's maritime EOD component and the world's premier EOD force. Now, I don't know if that's self-proclaimed, but I would argue it's probably very true. It is the only EOD component trained to operate across the full range of the military operations, to include surface supplied and closed circuit diving, static line, and military freefall, parachute operations, and special insertion and extraction. So they can do it all in the Navy. Are you hearing the theme here? Are you feeling it? All right. That's what I want you to remember when you walk out of here. Navy can do anything. That's the message. That's what I want you to hear. Next slide. Information warfare. It's about harnessing the power of communications, networks, intelligence, oceanography, meteorology, cryptology, electronic warfare, cyberspace operations, space to degrade, deny, deceive, or destroy an enemy's information environment, or to enhance the effectiveness of our own operations. This becomes very, very important today. It's developing cyber operations. They're looking, I think there's a law into place to create a new designator for cyber warfare officers. So clearly this is something that is going to take a whole new life of its own in the Navy here shortly. And last slide. This is your Navy. I want you to remember that as we talk about this. It gives you an idea of what we do. This is kind of Navy 101. There's so much more to who we are and what we do. Changing technology. A lot of people are afraid to join the Navy, like, well, I don't swim. Well, we can teach you that. They don't want to get stuck on a ship, or when I joined the Navy, women were not allowed on combatants. So I didn't have the opportunity, note I state opportunity. I think Admiral Nathan, who was my Surgeon General back in the day, says, if you're gonna be in the Navy, be in the Navy. Do what those things are. I think the opportunities are tremendous, and the experiences. Most people who get those opportunities love being at sea, because of the things that they get to do, the ports they get to see, the opportunities and et cetera that they've experienced, and the engagements and the community engagements they've had because of it. So I hope that we continue to protect the sea lanes the way we're supposed to, and protect our interests in the United States, and remind ourselves that we're your Navy, and that it's a privilege to be here today. And it's been a privilege to be in your city. I had never been here before. Again, I was born in Fort Ord. I spent time in San Diego. I come back to California whenever I get the opportunity, because it's a great state. The weather, the fruit, the people, what's not to love? So with that, I would say, do you have any questions for me or anything that I perhaps can answer?
Anyone with questions, please stand up. Oh, he doesn't have a question. Any questions? Oh, Sarah Klish.
So you talked about the money slide, recruitment. So what is the basic sense? I mean, I realize the different paths within the Navy, but what's the Navy looking for as the base cloth from which to mold Navy people when you're recruiting? What you looking for?
So I'm going to answer that question because my job is Navy recruiting. So, and I'm the executive officer for Navy Talent Acquisition Group, Golden Gate, right up the road at Moffett Field in Mountain View. Where is the young man who's leaving us to go to college? How are you going to pay for that, young man? We're going to talk afterwards. Navy just rolled out sorry, young lady, $65,000 tuition reimbursement for you when you come in. So when you talk about the cloth here, it's like we're going to test you when you come in. You go to the military entrance processing station up in, which is co-located with our headquarters in Mountain View, and you have to score a certain test. There's a test called the Asvab. I won't get into what the acronym means for you. There's a very comprehensive test that'll test you in things like your knowledge of automotive systems, to basic physics, to math, to English, all those things. And you have to score, and that score is going to tell us what you qualify for, as well as what you have aptitude in. Okay, so like there is a baseline score. You're going to have a certain level of knowledge of English here. I would promise you, for those of you here in San Jose area, if your student is a C student in San Jose schools, because we are in these schools constantly, your student is qualified to come to the Navy. We will have a job for your student. And when she was discussing, serving at sea on ships, if that's not for you, I got plenty of land jobs too. So if you want to drive a bulldozer, be outside all day doing construction, we have CB battalions that is their whole job. They're outside doing stuff with their hands, and they're on land pretty much the entire time. We also have aviation squadrons that only operate from land, so our maritime patrol aircraft that go out and find the enemy, but they're converted 747, 777 airliners, I think. Those all operate from land because you can't fly anything that big off an aircraft carrier. So when you talk about like the quality cuts, like look, your C students here in San Jose with the quality of the schools, they will make the quality cut. And then it gets into a matter of physical fitness, and there's a whole list of things. What I would tell you is just about everything is waiverable, okay, so long as you have all your limbs. And even that I can be persuaded on. But yeah, that's the baseline here is like that C student, if they're willing to serve, we can probably get them through that test and get them in if that's what they want to do.
We have another question here. Go ahead.
Before we get to that question, we do have one on Zoom. He mentioned scores. Pat Fox wonders, how many points will Navy beat Army by in the football game this year? You know. Okay, and we have another question over here.
Actually, I had a question bringing up Moffett. I know the 129th operates out of Moffett, the rescue wing, and considering how many different jurisdictional overlaps there are in the rescue wing, who's actually in charge of operations at the rescue wing? Coast Guard, Air Force, Navy, just so I understand what the actual structure of that facility is.
Yeah, we can find out and let you know. I don't know.
Thank you for your service. Thank you all for your service.
My son's a Naval Academy grad, fighter pilot commander, and just off of a liaison from the Navy to NATO. And with what's happening in the Middle East, or in particular, in the Mediterranean Sea on both sides, can you tell us, like, how does the coordination work with other countries when it comes to using sea power to defend free passage of ships, provide security to those that are fighting these fights?
Yeah, I was gonna say, how do I generically answer that? Yeah, that goes to the combatant commands. That's what, and yeah, I'm trying to think how to answer that best. It's the combatant commander's job to do that. And they basically, the requirement goes to the Navy to say, you shall do X, and then they go out there and they're required to do that. So they give the Navy the requirement, and the Navy goes out and sits there and provides the...
I think I phrased the question poorly.
Okay.
I'm looking for the hopeful message that our Navy is working collaboratively with other nations and their forces in the seas to thwart the threats that we're reading about every day.
Yeah, I mean, we do exercises with the other countries constantly. So I think that would be the answer I would give you, is we're constantly in communication through NATO and through Sixth Fleet in that area. So they have exercises going on regularly. I wouldn't worry if that's the best thing I could tell you.
I've got a medical question, so hopefully in your sweet spot there.
Yeah, thank you, I appreciate that.
I've been with the Scouts organization and have been taking some of the training for first aid and wilderness survival, and we get notice some great things that came from the military and clotting advances, how to clot major wounds and things like that. And so that's fantastic to for us to have these extra things in the regular civilian world. What's the next thing coming out from the military medical that's going to help us in the not backpackers, but
And besides the quick clot that you were talking about?
Yeah, the quick clot, yep.
That's a great question. What's the next thing that would be from a research standpoint, I don't know what would be compactable and something you could use on a hiking expedition. I mean, I'm trying to think what would be something smaller. We had this discussion yesterday at Fogarty, where that would be. Because the stuff that we're doing is mostly in prosthetics and implants and, yeah, can I get back to you on that one? No, it's a great question. I'm just trying to think what would be useful. Yeah.
Hi. Yeah, I teach San Jose State.
I'm batting 250 right now.
Right.
Go ahead.
Well, maybe this will be a little easier.
Okay.
So I teach at San Jose State military history, but I work a lot with veterans, with Bob, and with the ROTC program. So we have an Air Force detachment that's stationed on campus, but also the Army, which is stationed in Santa Clara. About half their students are with us. We have Marine leadership, although that's not on campus. I see them on campus. Navy, NRACC is up at Berkeley, where I went, and you have CSU Maritime Academy. What about getting a naval, some sort of branch? Because I know you do Stanford, works with Cal. So why not have something here at San Jose State where you could recruit, you would have a naval ROTC program? Is that possible to do here?
So I'm going to take that back, because I think that's a great idea. Because if you have nursing schools and there's scholarships that are going unused, especially if the commander's saying that they're having no problem recruiting in this area. Yeah, I don't know what limits that, and I don't know how the Navy makes those decisions, but I can certainly, I know Bull Halsey and I know CMP, so we could have that conversation. Thank you.
Is there an age limit to entering service? And do people come in after, say, they become an engineer or a doctor or something? And what's that process?
So yes, there's an age limit. You have to be able to do 20 years commission service. Enlisted, I think, I don't know what the enlistment age is, Commander.
Off the top of my head, man, I don't know, but so when I talk about waivers and a lot of this stuff being waiverable, I would tell you that I put a 62-year-old ophthalmologist into the Navy about 2 months ago.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's like,
Good, bravo.
if you have a specialized skill set and a propensity to serve physically fit, I mean, I'm sure the 62-year-old not run quite as fast.
Yeah. So
We can't hear you.
So doctors and dentists do not have
You
age
have to stand
limits.
up.
Doctors and dentists, especially we found in the military that once these professionals have gone into private practice and they're like, you know what, I've done this, I want to go try something else. And to the commander's point, they've said, you know, they're healthy enough and they can get an age waiver, just what he said earlier. They're waiverable. Other professionals, because there's a lot of professionals in our in the Navy and the other services, they aren't necessarily age waiverable, but you can come in up to the age of 42.
I love being last. As our club's resident technology nerd, I'd love to hear about robotics, autonomous things that you see being deployed in the Navy other than unmanned aerial vehicles, since I follow those.
Yeah, so we saw a little bit of that last night with the robot that does EOD. So they use the robots to blow things up. That's a pretty basic way of looking at it, right? Did I miss that one, Jake? Yeah, not blow them up, or what they're, you know, to be able to see. There's a lot of robotics that are going on. I don't know the specifics. I just know that, you know, you're constantly balancing protecting your network with what is going on elsewhere. So that's where do those two things match up? But the military is probably very advanced in robotics. So, and anybody who wants to join that has that interest, I would say this is the place. So when I talk to the Sea Cadets this week, I'm hoping that they have a lot of interest and are desiring we're hopefully able to foster that interest, because that's where it's at. So thank you all for your attention and for your time. Thanks.
Thank you, Admiral Swap, for today's program, and I'd like to let you know that a contribution is being made on your behalf to the San Jose Jazz Aid Fund, which is helping keep musicians working here in our community. Next week, we're going to have another fun week. We have a visit from our district governor, Savita. She'll be helping us present Paul Harris Awards, and our speaker will be former County Supervisor Ken Yeager, speaking on Silicon Valley Pride, because it's Pride Month in Silicon Valley. So thank you so much for being here today, either in the room or on Zoom, and let's keep the good times rolling all week.